Good afternoon, everyone. This is a special work session for the Salisbury City Council. We have a couple items on the agenda. Once this work session is concluded, we will return at 6 p.m. for our regularly scheduled legislative session. So the first item on the agenda is an ordinance to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with the Boys and Girls Club of Metropolitan Baltimore Incorporated, and for the purpose of accepting a Maryland Board of Public Works funds in the amount of $350,000. For this, we have Director of Housing and Community Development, Director Ron Strickler. How you doing today, sir?
Good evening, Council. Thank you for scheduling this special work session to get this through. So as you are aware, the City of Salisbury has recently entered into a contract with the Boys and Girls Club of Metropolitan Baltimore to operate a youth and teen after-school and summer camp program at the Truett Community Center. Part of that agreement and the extension that we just recently reached was to receive this $350,000 from the Boys and Girls Club of Metropolitan Baltimore. They received a grant through the state Board of Public Works, and in order to move forward with that, we had to extend our options to 15 years with the Boys and Girls Club, which we have done. This agreement will allow the mayor to sign under contract with the Boys and Girls Club, and also an ordinance to adjust the budget.
Any questions or comments from members of the council? I think this is extending that contract for 15 years. I think that's a good thing because it gives us some stability and long-term planning with that program. So everyone's satisfied with moving this forward to the legislative session?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
See you in a little bit. All right, next up is an ordinance to authorize the mayor to transfer from the revolving fund, transfer from the water sewer fund, and appropriate funds for the raw water line at the Naylor Mill project in the water sewer capital project fund. Rick, come on up. How you doing, sir?
Well, thank you. Council, good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight, Department of Infrastructure and Development is asking for a budget amendment of $1.2 million to complete construction of the raw water main that'll connect well 1 and the new well 3 to the paleo water treatment plant. The current raw water line that carries the drinking water for the city is built on a timber trestle that was built about 50 years ago. We have been watching the condition of this trestle and planning for the replacement, but during a recent storm event, one of the pilings was sheared off. That pipe now is buckled. It is still carrying water, but with the condition of the trestle, gravity acting upon it, we wish to move forward on an emergency basis. The design is done. We are in conversation with some very good contractors to be able to proceed with this replacement, but without the funds from the water and sewer capital projects and water and sewer revolving funds, we would not be able to proceed.
Just one question, or really a comment, because I know the answer. The funds are already in. It's not an increase in over the current. So, and I stopped and took a look at the project, and we need to get it done. So.
Mm-hmm. I don't like messing with our water, so because it's one of the most important pieces of a quality of life. So so everybody supports moving this forward to the next meeting.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So see you then.
Thank you.
With that, this work session is closed, and again, we will return at 6 p.m. for our legislative session. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to legislative session of the Salisbury City Council. Today is January 23rd, 2023, and I'll call this meeting to order. Making a brief announcement. In case of emergency, everyone please remain calm. exit the door here, take a right down the hallway and go down the stairs. If that's blocked, take a left, make your way around, and go down those stairs on the left side of the hallway. Please do not use the elevator in the event of an emergency. Is Reverend McClendon here? I don't see. Okay, I don't see them here. All right, so at this time, we will stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could take a moment of silence and at this time. At this time, current Mayor Day and Secretary of Housing Community Development Designee would like to make a presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, Madam Vice President, and members of the council. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening I have a proclamation that I'm going to read, but I'm going to ask a friend to come up and join me, if you wouldn't mind. And Amanda, if you want to bring... Okay. And I'm going to ask you to talk in just a second, just a heads up. Okay, all right. Forgive me. Old friends, Amanda Fenstermaker, who I'm going to introduce in just a few minutes, and I worked together in different lives in Cambridge many years ago. But let me read this first read this proclamation and then introduce Amanda. This proclamation reads, human trafficking, whereas human trafficking is a serious problem on the Eastern Shore, where traffickers use violence, threats, deception, and other manipulative tactics to force and coerce young and adult individuals to engage in commercial sex acts or to provide labor or services against their will. And between June 2013 and May 2020, there were reports of child sex trafficking in every Eastern Shore county, and since 2017, throughout Maryland, 127 human trafficking victims have been rescued. Human trafficking is the second highest criminal enterprise in the United States, grossing $9.5 billion every year. And the increased use of drugs, focus on social media, and changes brought by COVID-19 have increased the level of human trafficking. And the Eastern Shore Human Trafficking Task Force is engaged in anti-human trafficking actions by encouraging and promoting awareness and prevention of human trafficking. And across the nation during the month of January, Human Trafficking Awareness Month formally recognizes that human trafficking consistently occurs in the United States and emphasizes the need for the public and private sectors to come together to focus on prevention, prosecution, partnerships, and support for survivors. Now therefore I, Jacob Day, Mayor of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim January 2023 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in our city. And I urge residents to educate themselves on the indicators of human trafficking to assist in identifying potential trafficking victims. And I'd now like to introduce Amanda Fenstermaker, who is the Assistant Director of Harriet's House, which is, I think, the first residential facility on the Eastern Shore designed to assist victims of human trafficking. Amanda.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us here this evening and for this proclamation. As Jake said, I'm the Assistant Director for Harriet's House, which is, we just opened at the end of October. We have a safe home for up to 5 women, and our program is an 18-month program with really an eye toward taking people who are in an incredibly traumatic situation and bringing restoration to their lives. And we do feel that this is just the very beginning, because unfortunately human trafficking is a problem that's not going away. So we look forward to working with you, with the city, with Wycomico County in the future, and just thank you so much for having me here tonight. I did leave some rack cards on the table over there if you're interested in our specific program. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Can we get a picture real quick? Is that okay? Thanks, Amanda.
So as president, I am in charge of the agenda, and we're making a minor amendment tonight. For those that may not know, this evening is the last council meeting that Mayor Jacob Day will be here as mayor. And so he is, on behalf of us and the state of Maryland, he is taking the trek across the Great Water Chesapeake Bay to a faraway land called Annapolis. What's over there? I've been there a few times. I know that there's like Trader Joe's, the Ravens, the Orioles. But, you know, we want to make sure we send a little Salisbury with them. So, Mayor, if you would come up here, we have a plaque for you in recognition of your service to our city for years of outstanding dedication to the community and the city of Salisbury as council president, which was from April 2013 to November 2015, and mayor from November 2015 to January 2023.
Thank you, Mayor.
Rest of the council members would like to come up, because it's not just me, it's, we got something else for you. Because we also realize, I don't know what's over there food-wise, I don't know what's over there beverage-wise. So we want to make sure, they should, if not, we'll send some to you.
Okay.
But we want to make sure that your office is properly stocked when you get there.
Okay.
We got the appropriate things in here. So I did reusable bag from Walmart, okay? I have 2 bags of Old Bay chips in here.
Oh.
And I don't know, what is that? That's a bottle of Glenfiddich fell in there by accident.
Gravel flavors. Gravel flavors.
I'm sorry, sir. But I don't know if we're allowed to have that in the
Oh, my
building or
goodness.
not, but
Well, thank you. Hey, thank you.
love you too.
Thank you. Thank you. No speech or anything. Thank you all. Love you.
I don't know how it got there. It just fell in the bag.
It just fell in the bag. Fell in the sky.
Thank you.
Read the back of that. Read the back.
All right. Order in the chamber, please.
Already.
At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the legislative agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the legislative agenda, please signify by saying aye,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye,
Aye.
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 and the chair
Can we
votes
vote
aye.
after the,
Oh,
after
Oh,
it's
yes,
oh, I'm
presented?
sorry. Just,
Moving fast.
It's
You
moving
have a
right
date?
along.
We'll
huh?
Yeah, right?
we'll postpone
Motion.
the vote.
Yeah.
Sickles?
On the consent agenda, we have resolution number 3205, approving the appointment of Amber Green to the Youth Development Advisory Committee for term ending January 2026. Resolution number 3206, approving the appointment of Tanika Harmon to the Youth Development Advisory Committee for term ending January 2026. Resolution number 3207, approving the appointment of Caitlin Allers to the WIDAC for term ending January 2026. Resolution number 3208, approving the appointment of Kelly White to the WIDAC for term ending January 2026. Resolution number 3209, approving the appointment of Siddharth Ghosh to the Youth WIDAC for term ending January 2026. Resolution number 3210, approving the appointment of Cassidy Feeney to the WIDAC for a term ending January 2026. And resolution number 3211, approving the reappointment of Anthony Sarbanes to the Ethics Commission for term ending January 2027.
Questions or comments from the council? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye,
Aye.
And we do have Ms. Blake is also on Zoom. So-
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Yeah,
Got
there you go.
got an aye from Angela. Thank you, Angela.
Yes.
So if they are present in the chamber, would the following individuals please stand up? Amber Green, Tanika Harmon, Caitlin Ehlers. Caitlin? Okay. Kelly White, Siddharth Ghosh, Cassidy Feeney,
Siddharth is on Zoom.
pardon?
Siddharth.
Oh, she's up
on
there.
Zoom.
And former Wacomico County Council President Anthony Sarbanes. Guess he didn't. But we do want to thank everybody for volunteering your time and your commitment. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the awarded bids.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Miller, you have the floor.
Good evening. The first item this evening is invitation to bid number ITB A-23-109. That's the liquid magnesium hydrox bid for the Department of Waterworks. The specifications are for the supply and delivery for 12 months of liquid magnesium hydroxide to the city's municipal, I have water plants, but that is for the wastewater treatment plant. The bid date on this was December 8th of 2022, and the bid opening was January 13th of 2023. We did receive 2 bids. The lowest responsible and responsive bidder was Premier Magnesia from Wayne, Pennsylvania. The approximate cost for 12 months of this chemical is $310,000, estimating 90,000 gallons of usage. The GL account in your packet noted is the chemicals account for the wastewater treatment plant.
Questions or comments? Next item.
Okay. Next item is ITB, invitation to bid number 23-113. This is an armored vehicle for the City of Salisbury Police Department. It's a Lenco Bearcat BC 55003. It's an all-steel armor V8 turbo diesel engine 4x4 vehicle with high ballistic protection. We would like to piggyback on the Howard County contract number listed in your packet. That contract term was from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. That contract calls for an approximate 5% off the Lenco list prices. Lenco Industries is from Pittsfield, Massachusetts. The cost of this vehicle would be $227,480. The vehicle account noted in your packet is funded for this purchase.
Questions, comments? No? What's the estimated delivery on that? Okay. Next item.
The next item is a change order. This is done pursuant to Section 2.32.085 of the Salisbury, Maryland Municipal Code. This was for the Department of Infrastructure and Development. So the original scope of this bid for invitation to bid number ITB 23-102 is a Paleo Well 3 construction completion. This was to construct a new production well and raw water main for connection to the existing raw water main for well number 1, which is located along Naylor Mill Road. We had posted this bid in July 2022, brought it to council in August 2022, and proposed an award to Harper & Sons from Easton, Maryland, with an award amount of $2,253,784.95. Unfortunately, all of the accounts that were specified in that initial award were not actually fully funded. So we could only, at the time then, award $1,847,681. That corresponded directly back to bid items, some of which, that difference between the two figures, we had to postpone. I believe a budget amendment was more recently completed by the Department of Infrastructure and Development. So now we're looking to come back to council to request the $390,280 to finish the work.
Questions?
Timing on this?
the timing. They've already started it.
They've already started, so this
Not,
is
but not
just-
the change order. So the
Okay.
work has already started.
Okay.
Comments?
No.
Next item?
Okay. And the last item is request for a declaration of surplus. In your packet is a memo with a list of approximately 15 vehicles and items from the Department of Field Operations. All of the items we would attempt to offer at public sale.
You know, how many of the items are they operable? Oh, here it is. Any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. That's the last item. Okay, so all those in favor of approving the award of bids, please signify by saying aye.
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 You good, Angela?
Yes, aye.
Okay. All right,
Okay, thank you.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2770 for second reading.
So move.
Second.
O'Shea.
Good evening, everyone. Ordinance number 2770, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Salisbury, amending and supplementing ordinance number 2223, passed by the council on October 22nd, 2012, approved by the mayor of the city on October 23rd, 2012, and effective on October 23rd, 2012, referred to as ordinance number 223. As amended and supplemented to date in order to, one, authorize and empower the city of Salisbury to use and apply certain investment earnings on the $6,041,000 City of Salisbury taxable public improvement bond of 2012 issued on December 5th, 2012, referred to as the 2012 taxable bond, to a project identified herein as raw water line at Naylor Mill Road, and two, identifying such additional project as a project for all purposes of ordinance number 223 as amended and supplemented, providing that this title is a fair statement of the substance of this ordinance, providing that the provisions of this ordinance shall be liberally construed, and otherwise generally relating to the use of proceeds of the 2012 taxable bond. This is before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first reading.
Questions or comments? All those in favor of approving ordinance number 2770 for second reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2771 for second reading.
So move.
Second.
Ordinance number 2771, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Salisbury amending and supplementing ordinance number 2357, passed by the council on October 12, 2015, approved by the mayor of the City of Salisbury on October 14th of 2015, and effective on October 14th, 2015, referred to as ordinance number 2357, as amended and supplemented to date in order to, one, authorize and empower the city to use and apply certain investment earnings on the $4,726,200 City of Salisbury Public Improvement Bond of 2015 issued on December 1st, 2015, referred to as the 2015 bond, to the project identified herein as raw water line at Naylor Mill Road, and two, identifies such additional project as a project for all purposes of ordinance number 2357 as amended and supplemented, provided that this title is a fair statement of the substance of this ordinance, authorizing certain city officials to take certain actions in connection with the transactions contemplated by this ordinance, providing that the provisions of this ordinance shall be liberally construed and otherwise generally relating to the use of proceeds of the 2015 bond. And again, this is before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first reading.
Questions or comments on this one? All those in favor of approving ordinance number 2771, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? No, and the chair votes aye. We entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2772 for first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Is this for
It's
second reading?
second reading,
Yes.
for second reading.
I think this is,
Yeah.
It is for second.
Is it second reading?
Second.
Second.
Second reading.
Yes.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Or-
Second.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Ordinance number 2772, an ordinance of the council of the city of Salisbury amending and supplementing ordinance number 2394, passed by the council on July 18th, 2016, approved by the mayor of the city of Salisbury on July 19th, 2016, and effective on July 19th, 2016, referred to as ordinance number 2394, as supplemented to date in order to, one, authorize and empower the city to use and apply certain investment earnings on the $20,030,000 City of Salisbury Public Improvements and Refunding Bond of 2016 issued on July 28, 2016, referred to as the 2016 bonds, to the project identified herein as raw water line at Naylor Mill, and two, to identify such additional project as a project for all purposes of ordinance number 2394 as supplemented, providing that this ordinance is a fair statement of the substance of this ordinance, authorizing certain city officials to take certain actions in connection with the transactions contemplated by this ordinance, providing that the provisions of this ordinance shall be liberally construed and otherwise generally relating to the use of the proceeds of the 2016 bonds. And again, this is before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first reading.
Questions or comments?
No.
All those in favor of approving ordinance number 2772 for second reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2773
So
for
moved.
first reading.
Second.
Ordinance number 2773, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to appropriate funds for the Restore Paleo Well Field Project. Whereas the City of Salisbury supplies water to city residents for consumption as well as fire protection. Whereas the city relies on groundwater supplied by wells as a source of this water. Whereas the Paleo Water Treatment Plant provides roughly 65% of the city's water supply. Whereas the Paleo Water Treatment Plant currently consists of 2 supply wells. Whereas these wells require periodic redevelop to maintain yield and design capacity. Whereas well number 2 at the Paleo Water Treat has reached the point requiring redevelopment. Whereas amendments to the Water Sewer Fund budget and Water Sewer Capital Project Fund budget identified below are needed to provide $195,000 in funds needed for redevelopment of well number 2. And whereas the budget amendment as provided herein must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and the approval of 4/5 of the council of the city of Salisbury. Ordinance number 2773 reads as follows. Section 1, Mayor Jacob R. Day is hereby authorized to appropriate funds for the Restore Paleo Well Field Project in the amount of $195,000. Section 2, the City of Salisbury's FY23 Water Sewer Fund budget be and hereby is amended as follows. For increased revenue for account description none, or project description none, account description, current year surplus, account 60100-46981 in the amount of $195,000. Increase expense for project description none, account description, transfer water sewer capital projects fund, account number 91002599108 by the same amount, $195,000. Section 3, the City of Salisbury Water Sewer Capital Project Fund budget being hereby is amended as follows. Increase revenue for project description Restore Paleo Well Field, account description PAYGO, account number 97030-469-313-50021 in the amount of $195,000. An increase expense for project description Restore Paleo Well Field for account description construction, account number 97030-513-026-50021 by the same amount, which is $195,000.
Questions or comments? No. I'll just say, just for the benefit of public consumption, is that once we have bonds, especially when they're in the water and sewer area, they were only allowed, that money is only allowed to be used into that. So many of the projects that have been finished, there's leftover money, we're using that money to reallocate to help pay for this project. So this time, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 2773 for first reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? And the chair votes aye. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2774 for first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Heath, he was firm on that one.
Ordinance number 2774, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to appropriate funds for the Town Square project and for the purchase of vehicles. Whereas the City of Salisbury appropriated $1,100,000 by ordinance number 2721 for the Service Center project, with funding provided from bond proceeds to be issued in FY '24, and whereas the city has determined the above funds should no longer be necessary for the Service Center project, and whereas the city desires to increase the appropriation for the Town Square project by $200,000, and whereas the city desires to increase the appropriation for vehicles in the general fund by $900,000, and whereas the appropriations necessary to execute the appropriation of $200,000 and $900,000, and as provided here and above, must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and the approval of 4/5 of the council of the city. Ordinance number 2774 reads as follows. Section 1, Mayor Jacob Arday is hereby authorized to appropriate funds for the Town Square project in the amount of $200,000. Section 2, the City of Salisbury's General Capital Project Fund budget be and hereby is amended as follows. Decrease revenue for project description Service Center, account description bond proceeds, account number 98024-469312-43007 by $1,100,000. Decrease expense for project description Service Center, account description construction, account number 98124-513-026-43007 by that same amount, $1,100,000. Increase of revenue for project description Town Square, account description bond proceeds, account number 98024-469312-48089 in the amount of $200,000. Increase expense for project description Town Square, account description construction, account number 98124-513-026-48089 by the amount of $200,000. Section 3, the City of Salisbury's FY '23 general fund budget be and hereby is amended as follows. Increase revenue for project description none, account description current year surplus, account number 01000-469810 in the amount of $900,000, and increase expense for project description none, account description vehicles, account number 32061-577025 by the same amount, which is $900,000.
Questions or comments?
No.
This time I'll call for the question. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 2774 for first reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 And anybody opposed? And the chair votes aye. Entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2775 for first reading.
So move.
Second.
Ordinance number 2775, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to enter into grant agreements with the Maryland Department of Transportation, MDOT, Maryland Bikeways Program for the purpose of accepting grant funds for the design of the Rail Trail Phase 2 and 3, construction of Armstrong Parkway Rail Trail Connector, and a citywide pedestrian and bike counting program, and to approve a budget amendment to allocate said funds for the purposes of implementation. Whereas the Maryland Department of Transportation has a Maryland Bikeways program for providing grant funds to support and expedite projects improving bicycle and pedestrian transportation in the state. And whereas the Maryland Department of Transportation and City of Salisbury have been working together to improve bicycle connectivity throughout the City of Salisbury. And whereas the City of Salisbury desires to implement a bike route along railway that runs north and south through the city, and whereas it is in the public interest for the City of Salisbury to enhance transportation for pedestrians and bicycle riders through the aforementioned projects, which will increase bicycle safety and assist in prioritizing infrastructure investment based on where active transportation users actually are. And whereas in furtherance of these projects, the Maryland Bikeways Program has awarded grants in the total amount of $289,034 to provide for the design of the Rail Trail Phase 2 and 3 in the amount of $139,700, construction of the Armstrong Parkway Connector in the amount of $100,000, and a citywide pedestrian and bike counting program in the amount of $49,334. And whereas in accordance with the related grant agreements which are attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference, the city will provide matching funds in the amount of $154,036, which matching funds to be allocated as follows: Rail Trail Phase 2 and 3 in the amount of $40,000, construction of Armstrong Parkway Connector in the amount of $101,700, and the citywide pedestrian and bike counting program, $12,336. And whereas the city has surplus funds available in the current year operating accounts to accomplish the grant match amounts, and whereas Section 7-29 of the city charter prohibits the city from entering into a contract that requires an expenditure not appropriated or authorized by the council of the city, and whereas appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of this grant must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and the approval of 4/5 of the council. Ordinance number 2775 reads as follows. Section 1, Mayor Jacob Arday, on behalf of the city of Salisbury, is hereby authorized to enter into the attached grant agreements accepting the project term and definition of matching funds for the betterment of the city and its residents, and further accepting the total grant amount of $289,034 from the Maryland Bikeways Program to provide for the design of Rail Trail Phase 2 and 3, construction of Armstrong Parkway Connector, and citywide pedestrian and bike counting program. Section 2, the City of Salisbury's FY23 grant fund budget is hereby amended as follows. Rail Trail Phase 2 and 3, increase MDOT grant revenue account 10500-425-805-XXXXX by $139,700, increase grant match revenue account 10500-499-000-XXXXX by $40,000, increase construction grant expense account 10500-513-026-XXXXX by $179,700, and construction of the Armstrong Parkway Connector, increase MDOT grant revenue account 10500-425-805-XXXXX by $100,000, increase grant match revenue account 10500-499-000-XXXXX by $101,700, increase construction grant expense account 10500-513-026-XXXXX by $201,700, and the bike granting program, increase MDOT grant revenue account 10500-425-805-XXXXX by $49,334, increase grant match revenue account 10500-499-000-XXXXX by $12,336, and increase construction grant expense account 10500-513-026-XXXXX by $61,670. And Section 3, the City of Salisbury's FY23 general fund budget being hereby is amended as follows. Increase revenue 01000-469,810, use of surplus by $154,036. Increase expense 91001-599131, grant match DID by $101,700. Increase expense 91001-599131, grant match DID by $12,336,000. And increase expense 91001-599131, grant match DID by $40,000.
The thing I would just add is, just for public consumption, is that when they list the X's at the end of that, is that account number has not been defined yet because it's a new project. So, all those in favor of approving ordinance number 2775 for first reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2776 for first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance number 2776, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Metropolitan Baltimore, Inc. for the purpose of accepting Maryland State Board of Public Work funds in the amount of $350,000, and to approve a budget amendment to the grant fund to appropriate these funds for the construction of the Truett Community Center expansion project. Whereas the City of Salisbury has entered into a joint use agreement with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metropolitan Baltimore, Inc. for the primary use of the City of Salisbury Truett Community Center for a period of up to 15 years. And whereas the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metropolitan Baltimore, Inc. was awarded $350,000 by the Maryland State Board of Public Works for the expansion of the Truett Community Center. And whereas the City of Salisbury is providing the required Maryland State Board of Public Works grant match in the amount of $450,000 for completion of the Truett Community Center expansion project. And whereas the City of Salisbury must enter into a contractual agreement with the Boys and Girls Club of the Metropolitan Baltimore, Inc., defining how these funds must be reimbursed. And whereas the Boys and Girls Club of Metropolitan Baltimore, Inc. agrees to reimburse the City of Salisbury for construction costs realized for the Truett Community Center expansion project up to the amount of $350,000 pursuant to the terms of the construction reimbursement agreement, a copy of which is attached hereto as Exhibit A. Whereas Section 7-29 of the city charter prohibits the city from entering into a contract that requires an expenditure not appropriated or authorized by the council of the city, and whereas the appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of this grant must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and the approval of 4/5 of the council. Ordinance number 2776 reads as follows. Section 1, Mayor Jacob Arday is hereby authorized to enter into the construction reimbursement agreement with the Boys and Girls Club of the Metropolitan Baltimore, Inc. on behalf of the city, a copy of which is attached as Exhibit A, for the city's acceptance of grant funds in the amount of $350,000. Section 2, the City of Salisbury's grant fund budget be and hereby is amended as follows. Increase TCC-BGCMB grant revenue account number 10500-424-000-XXXXX, State of Maryland DGS revenue by $350,000, increase TCC-BGCMB grant expense account number 10500-513-026-XXXXX, construction expense by $350,000.
Questions or comments?
No.
I think this is going to be a terrific partnership, and we're going to see significant value from this in our community for the years to come. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 2776 for first reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 And any opposed? No. And the chair votes aye. Entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2777 for first reading.
So move.
Second.
Ordinance number 2777, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to transfer from the revolving fund, transfer from the water sewer fund, and appropriate funds for the raw water line at Naylor Mill project and the water sewer capital project fund. Whereas the City of Salisbury supplies water to the city residents for consumption as well as fire protection, and whereas the city relies on groundwater supplied by wells as a source of this water, and whereas the raw water line at Naylor Mill Road project is essential to the distribution of water from the Paleo Water Treatment Plant, and whereas Paleo Water Treatment Plant provides roughly 65% of the city's water supply, and whereas the city has determined an additional appropriation for the raw water line project is required in the amount of $1,200,000, and whereas funding for the project shall be provided by the transfer of $600,000 from the water sewer revolving fund used for maintenance and $600,000 by the transfer of $600,000 from the water sewer fund, and whereas the appropriations necessary to execute the appropriation of $1.2 million as provided here and above must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and the approval of 4/5 of the council of the city. Ordinance number 2777 reads as follows. Section 1, Mayor Jacob Arday is hereby authorized to appropriate funds for the raw water line at Naylor Mill project in the amount of $1.2 million. Section 2, the City of Salisbury's FY23 water sewer fund budget be and hereby is amended as follows. Increase revenue, account description none, project description none, account description current year surplus, account number 60100-469810 in the amount of $600,000. Increase expense for project description none, account description transfer water sewer capital projects fund, account number 91002-599108 in the amount of $600,000. Section 3, the City of Salisbury's water sewer capital project fund budget be and hereby is amended as follows. Increase revenue for project description raw water line Naylor Mill, account description PAYGO WS fund, account 97030-469313-50048 in the amount of $600,000.
increase revenue for project description, raw water line, Naylor Mill, account description, transfer from WS revolving fund, account 97030-469-162-50048, in the amount of $600,000. An increase expense for project description, raw water line, Naylor Mill, account description, construction, account number 97030-513-026-50048, in the amount of $1.2 million.
No.
This time I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 2777 for first reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nichols, do we have any public comments? No? All right, anyone interested in making a public comment? No, Andy, sorry.
You're not
Denied.
public.
At this time, we'll go to administration and council comments. Start with the administration.
Let the record reflect that I at no time brought the bottle up onto the table, nor did I take my cup down under.
I thought I saw it. I thought I saw it move.
For that matter, I do not have Old Bay Cheeto fingers. So thank you all. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm going to miss you. I know this is not like the last I'm going to see of you, but just want to say I'm going to
Just
miss
better
you.
not be.
No, it won't be.
Ms. Glanz?
Okay.
Just like to invite the public out to our incoming mayor swearing-in ceremony Friday at 5 o'clock at Station 16 on Cypress Street. Already have a good turnout, but would love others to join as well.
Reserve our tickets too, right? It's,
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, I did.
sign-up sheet.
I better
I did mine right.
better
Eventbrite,
reserve my
yes.
tickets so
We
Yeah.
want to make sure we have
I don't
enough
get
seats.
denied entry
That's right.
into the
Yeah.
fire department.
Colonel will be there as well.
Okay.
He'll remember.
To council comments, Mrs. Gregory?
Miss you. End of an era. But I'm looking forward to seeing what you do at the state. So, like I said, give them help. All right.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the city of Salisbury for the beautiful arrangement that you sent my family during the passing of my mother. I really appreciate it. And the meal, which we really enjoyed. And I'd just like to say, you know, if you all have your parents, love them. Take care of them. Make sure I have no regrets because I did what I was supposed to, but do what you need to do. Love one another. I'll say it 1,000,000 times. Love one another. Doesn't mean your family. It means everybody. Just love. Thank you.
Ms. Blake?
Well, Mayor Day, my gift I couldn't bring into the government office building. You'll get that at a later date. But if you're healthy enough, as always, please donate blood. You save at least 3 lives per 1 pint of blood. Thank you.
You don't have nothing to say.
Yeah. First, I'll second Angela's thing about blood. We need you to donate if you're capable of doing that. Second, congratulations to the mayor.
Yes.
I have your phone number, and we'll be talking a lot. Also, relative to tonight's agenda and every agenda we go through, I want to commend all the departments for their grant writing. It is amazing how much money we get in grants that save us and the taxpayers a lot of money. And they are a talented bunch of people, and sometimes we take them for granted, but please don't, because they help tremendously. And the last thing I have to say is thank you to the council for the support that I've been given. If you remember when I ran, it's hard to remember back that far, but when I ran, I said one of the things that I wanted to do during my tenure was to bring some civility to the council. And if it wasn't for each of you sitting here and Angela, we would never have accomplished that. We don't always agree, but we agree to do it respectfully. And that means an awful lot to me. I look forward to my new challenge, and it's not a new beginning. It's the next chapter of a story that began 10 years ago. And I ask that you join me in that. And I thank my wife, our sixth council person, who's here and been here every meeting.
Yes.
And gave me the support, and I went home and asked her if she had a problem with me running for mayor, and she said not at all. And I wasn't sure after 54 years together, but I want to thank her for all the support as well. I wish you Godspeed, and I know you'll do very well. Thank you.
So, yeah, this is, it's been great working with Jack the past 8 years. He's been a great mentor, and now we're ready for the next chapter. Still a little bittersweet because,
Yeah.
you know, you're in the same state. You're still going to live in Salisbury, and we all have your phone number. So rest assured, you'll be getting calls.
Don't hit ignore.
So, all right, so at this time, we will be adjourning the regular meeting, and I will entertain a motion to convene in closed session. And I'll read this notice. This Salisbury City Council will convene in legislative session on Monday, January 23rd, 2023 at 6 p.m., following a special work session at 5:45 p.m. In council chambers, room 301 of the Government Office Building. At approximately 6:45 p.m., council will entertain a vote to convene in closed session for the following reason. Before a contract is awarded or bids are opened, to discuss a matter directly related to a negotiating strategy or the contents of a bid or proposal. If public discussion or disclosure would adversely impact the ability of the public body to participate in the competitive bidding or proposal process under the authority of the Maryland Open Meetings Law, Annotated Code of Maryland General Provisions, Article squiggly S's 3-305.
What?
B14. The public can observe the motion, discussion, and vote to convene in closed session.
Did he say squiggly?
It's squiggly S's, I don't know the legal
my
term. I'm
God.
sure Ms. Boucher could. It's a statute, S, okay. So the statute squiggly S. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to convene in closed session.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by April Jackson. Seconded by Michelle Gregory, 1L.
Yes.
Any
Don't get it
comments or questions or discussion? Hearing none, call for the question. All those in favor of moving into a closed meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, Ms. Blake,
She's muted.
she's still there?
Angela?
She's muted.
She's muted.
Angela, you're muted. I don't know if you can unmute.
Hello?
Hello?
There you are.
Hey, we're voting to move into a closed session.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Any opposed? Hearing none. The chair votes aye, and we are in closed session at 6:49. Meant to discuss a contract or an award of bid for a piece of real estate. And at this time, our meeting is adjourned.